Okay, so first off, thank you so much. And I'll just say my name is Amy. Obviously, it's on the screen there. And I teach English. And so what you're going to see today is, of course, you're going to see into some of my my student classes, although I'm not going to show you any FERPA violations, hopefully. But I just was going to start off by asking you if you could just tell us your name and what you teach. I'm interested to know kind of what classes everybody else teaches. I know a couple people already, but let's see. If I can just start with Lori, and then whoever goes, if you can just say somebody else's name so that we can prevent the awkward mute thing on Zoom.
Okay, well, like I said a few minutes ago, my name is Lori Neesmith, and I am adjunct faculty. I teach in communications. I largely teach public speaking, which is the class that everybody loves to take, and being able to communicate potentially more beyond just the written evaluation kind of work sounds really like a good tool that I'd like to learn about. So I'm looking forward to it. So we've heard from Naomi. I've got David we've heard from Amy. So now in my screen, I see Dora as next.
Sorry, I did the awkward unmute thing. My name's Dora. I teach in the English department. Am I frozen?
Yes, but we can still hear you.
Okay, sorry. Maybe I'll try to turn my... Oh, there I am. And I teach a lot of Comp 1 and Comp 2 online, and I'm always looking for ways to make the connection more personal, humanize it, right, Naomi? And keep students engaged and retain them. A lot of times, I don't know, they don't always stick around till the end of the quarter. Erin.
Hi, I'm Erin Joy. I'm also an English teacher, and I've been interested in learning more about this for a while. So thank you, Amy, for doing this today.
Yeah.
And I'll call on Janice next.
Hi, I'm Jan Hess. I teach in the health information management area. As a matter of fact, I started the program back in 2001. And I teach the beginning courses and the ending courses, and I have the internship. We have a pretty big program, and it went from fully in the classroom to, I think I was the first one that went hybrid or blended, I think it was called at the time. And now we're online, and it's hard for us to even place a student. Yeah, our hybrid classes don't even make because students don't want to come to class. So I'm always just looking for new tidbits, always, to try to, retain students and keep their interest.
For sure. Jessica, do you want to introduce yourself too? I know we heard about you a little bit, but.
My name is Jessica Delmonico, and I am an instructional designer in IDS.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks so much for doing that. I know it's like sort of awkward, but I like to know kind of what everybody teaches. And so what I'm going to show you is it's in the context of an English class, but I truly believe that the video feedback can be useful in any online class. So I'll just tell you briefly. Oh, one other thing is Naomi put a handout in the chat. It has just some like tips and things that I'm going to talk about and show you. So please feel free to like download it and, if it's useful to you. So I first started, I can't remember who told me, I don't know, another English teacher, maybe Chad Jorgensen, told me about that there was an audio feedback option in Canvas. And he talked about how it just allowed him to kind of be more natural when he was giving feedback. So really just be able to talk to students. And so I got pretty excited about that. And so for, I think, a year, I was using the audio feedback option. And then Canvas changed, actually. And now, at least to my best knowledge, and I am not a Canvas expert, but you can only do video feedback now. There's an option where it looks like you could turn off your camera, but I tried it and it did not really work. It really wants you to use the video option. So I had to get over myself because I had to realize that students were going to see my face and I could just, if I'm on the couch, I would like put on a nice shirt and then have my PJ bottoms on, like, cool. Okay. And what I realized as I did it on video feedback is that students liked it even better than they liked the audio feedback. I got good feedback about the audio feedback too, but man, they really liked seeing my face and being able to follow along as I was talking to them. So on the handout that I put in, or that Naomi put in the chat, there is some student feedback. I don't ask explicitly at the end of the quarter. I just say, what was the best part about, comp 1 or comp 2 or whatever. And I don't ask, for feedback specifically on the way that I'm giving comments and stuff. And these were unsolicited comments from students. In fact, the last one that says, it's really nice to know who's teaching and guiding me. I just got that in an email from a student this quarter who just told me how much she liked having the video feedback. So I'm a huge fan. I don't do it for every single assignment, but I do it for assignments that I want to, be able to give students a lot of positive feedback. Sometimes I think it's easy to forget we're in feedback mode, we're in grading mode, and it can just sort of be like, here's what you need to fix, here's whatever. And so I always start off every comment with something like, well, I always say, hey, so-and-so, I say their name. If I have a student whose name I don't know how to pronounce, I always try my best. And then I ask them to send me a phonetic spelling if I said it wrong, because it's really important to me that I call them by their name and that they know I'm trying really hard. And I always say, this is Amy. I don't know why. Of course, who else would it be? But I just say that too. Here with some feedback on your blank. I always give the name of the assignment just so they know. And I always start off with the positive. So I'm always like, first off, I just want to say I loved blah, 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 blah. You did a great job on blah, 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 blah. And then I say, okay, and here's what else you could work on as well for, whatever. And so I think it also, not only does it students like it, but I also like it because it doesn't seem as, tedious as just going through. I get to say something slightly different every single time, but I don't have to be typing it all out. And so I think it saves me time actually, because I can just talk. So does anybody have any questions about it to this point? I'm going to walk you through how to do it, which is probably the most useful, but does anybody have anything they wanted to say right now yet? Okay, perfect. So one thing that I'll just let you know, so I'm going to share my screen and please forgive me. I really hope I have everything set up correctly to do this. I think I do. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so in just a second, there we go. So you should be able to see my test students assignment. And so if you're looking at the handout, it tells you some of this information that I'm going to give to you. I think the first thing that it says, there's a big note. It does take quite a bit, a good, strong internet connection to do the video feedback. So I said it's not coffee shop work. I have tried to do it in a coffee shop before, and it doesn't really work because it takes forever to buffer and actually so I don't know. I only can do it at home or on campus when I have a really good internet connection. So here's obviously what your screen looks like when you're grading something. One of the things so I'll just show you first. Here's where you can see the video and screen capture with auto captioning. Okay. I've also tried the screen capture and I did not find success in it. So I'm going to give you a workaround for that. So the first tip that I have for you is when you actually click on this, it freezes your screen. So you can no longer it'd be really nice if you could just scroll down and see their work as you're working on it, as you're giving feedback on it. But what I always do is download the assignment. So I suppose this is an extra step, but so I'm going to do that. Now you'll have to let me know. Did that actually work? Can you actually see the profile essay first draft assignment on your screen or no?
You're just sharing the Canvas or your browser, not
Okay.
the loaded version.
Okay. So hang on one second. Let's see. Let's see if I can figure out how. So what I did is I downloaded it. We'll see. We'll see if it works or not on Zoom. But I downloaded it because then what I do is I put it up. I don't have it maximized on my screen. I minimize it and I put it up right next to the little recording thing. Okay, so I'll show you what I'm talking about here if you were like, I did not know what you're saying right now. Okay, so here we go. Okay. So now I'm back, right? You can see, oh wait, that's not what I wanted. Gosh darn it. Boy, come on, Zoom. See. Here we go. Okay. There. Okay. Okay. So now I'm back. So the other thing, so first thing is I always download the assignment so that I'm able to have it pulled up. The other thing is that I always add like a quick little note. So I say like, hi student, right? You've done a great job on this. And then I say like, please click the white arrow below to view my feedback. Okay, so because sometimes, I don't know, they just might not notice that they have to click on something. So I always tell them that. I typically, if I know the grade, I'll put it in first because as I said on the handout, once you hit save video, save media, it's gonna just post the comment. So it's okay. Like if you don't do this comment first, that's all right. You could do it. You could do a second comment. I just like to streamline it so that it just posts everything at once. And by the way, please feel free to unmute. If I say something that doesn't make sense, like just stop me and ask the question like right then. So then you click on this little, so it just looks like a little old timey video camera. So you'll click on it. One of the things that it doesn't show my face. So normally it will show your face right here, but because we're on Zoom, my camera doesn't know what to do. So it doesn't show my face. So you can see like it says I don't have a camera. Yours will have a camera, but you can see my microphone is working because as I'm talking, I can see the microphone, right? Can you guys see this studio capture? Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good. The other option that you do have, if you feel more confident making a video like on your phone or something, or however, if you have another way, you can upload media also this way. I haven't really done that. I just use the Canvas tools just because. And so then what I would do is, and I don't know if it's going to allow me to do this, but no, probably not. You guys probably can't see that I have the draft pulled up as well. And so I'll scooch this over so that I can see where it says start recording. It's going to give me a little countdown. And then, so it's kind of annoying. You have to like toggle back and forth. So you hit start recording. It gives you this little countdown. And that's when I usually pull up my document that I'm looking at. And now it's recording. So you can tell because there's a little timer down here in the right-hand corner. And so, blah, blah, blah. I say what I want to say. I try, like the first assignment that I gave feedback on was it was a pretty simple assignment. It was a pre-writing assignment. And so my videos were maybe, I don't know, 2.5 minutes long. If students have submitted like a full draft, I try to keep them under 10 minutes, which I find also saves me time because I know I don't want it to be talking for like 20 minutes. Who's going to listen to that? And so I gather my thoughts, kind of what I want to say. But then I also have the draft or whatever assignment it is that I'm looking at. I have it pulled up and I'll say, okay, I'm on page 2 now. And so I'll talk to them as if they can be following along with me. If you go to page 2, the second paragraph, blah, 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 and I'll give them specific feedback like that. So then once I'm finished, I've said what I have to say. You obviously hit stop, and then you have to hit this save media button. So I'm going to hit that, And okay, of course, just now it did it instantly, probably because I don't have a video. Sometimes it takes a little while for it to buffer. So you'll see I showed you like the actual comment that you get. So if I click on this now, oh, actually maybe, yeah, okay. So if I click on this, it's going to play right away for me. But sometimes it gives you that little thing that says it's still like processing. So I just give it a minute and then click on it again. I would recommend before you move on to the next student or just before you're done grading for that day, double checking that all of them work. I will say it's pretty good. Like I really haven't had, I think I maybe had like 2 times where something went wrong and it didn't record. And that's frustrating, of course, but I'd rather like discover it before a student has to reach out to me to say, hey, I couldn't click on your comment, it didn't work. So that's it. So let's make sure I didn't skip anything on the handout. So let's see.
Can I ask a question, Amy?
Yes, please do.
So the video, does it save anywhere on your computer? Or does it just save onto Canvas and upload there?
It just saves right there onto Canvas. Yep. So it switches, seems like sometimes if depending on how big your video is, it takes a minute. So you'll hit that save media and it won't do anything. And you're like, oh no, did it disappear? Just have faith, like take a sip of coffee or whatever. You know what I mean? Because it will, once it's done, it'll pop up the little video screen and you'll be able to see it. But that can be a little bit stressful, to be honest with you. Like if you're like, wait, where did it go? But it, like I said, I've had it probably only like twice where it didn't work. Any other questions right now?
Amy, just to clarify, so I know we couldn't see what it was recording because your camera's in use.
Yep.
But when you're doing that, they're just seeing you. They're not seeing the screen, right?
Correct. They are just seeing you. And in fact, I'll show you, I pulled one up now. Somebody help me out with this. Is this a FERPA violation? If I pulled one up for just a student, you will be able to see her name though, maybe. Should I not share that?
Can you delete the name?
You can share it in the video. We can have the video editors blur it out.
Can
Yeah,
you?
we can
Okay.
blur it, yeah.
It's just her little name at the top of the screen in Canvas. That's all. Like,
Yeah,
so you
sometimes it's unavoidable. So we have video guys that can
Okay.
blur anything. So that's
okay.
good.
Perfect. Okay. Okay. Because I'll show you exactly what it looks like, what the student would see when, or what you'll see actually when it's finished. Okay. Any other questions? Those are great questions. And let's make sure that I said all the things I wanted to. Yep. So.
Well, while she's working on that, I'll make a comment. So my PhD research was in teaching presence. And one of the things that one of my colleagues studied was video feedback and how that improved teaching presence in online courses. So you've touched on a lot of things that we found in research a few years back. And one of them was that, and I'm glad you mentioned it, was calling students by their name. They tend to make a big connection with that. And then it's also interesting that you got better feedback, or the students feel better about video than audio, because that sort of works with the research that we did as well. They like seeing your face. And what we surmise is that students, just like anybody else, want to make a connection. And so the more information you can give them about you, the more comfortable, the quicker they become more comfortable with the teacher.
Yeah, I find that to be true, really. And like I said, like the feedback that I've gotten, and I just pulled some examples. I've actually gotten more feedback about it, has been largely unsolicited, and they were just telling me, I really liked this. You'll see, I think one of the comments said, like, I wish all professors would do this, which, and you know, I get it. Maybe it's not everybody's thing, but I do think it is super valuable. So I'll just show you now. I wanted to show you what it actually looks like when you're doing this. So here, so let's see. All right. I believe we're ready here. Yes. And Okay, I'm going to show you part of it's cringy sort of, but I'm going to show you part of my video so you can just see how it works. Okay, so here's an assignment that a student did. So of course I downloaded her assignment first. I had it pulled up. I did my video. So now I've said like, you've done a great job on this. Please click on the white button below. And I think I did enable sound, so you'll be able to hear like what the student would hear. So hopefully it'll work. So this is the part that I have to like get over, because sometimes I'm making like a dumb face and it shows like the frame. Anyway, you just have to get over that part of it. Maybe you all don't feel that way. Hi, Holly. It's Amy here with some feedback on your profile pre-writing. First off, I just want to say, when I just read through your pre-writing, oh, I got so choked up. I mean, the story of Tony. Okay, and I was like crying right before I recorded this video, and I had to like compose myself. But this is what the student would see and hear. They would be able to stop it, start it, go back to things. That was another thing that students told me that they liked, was that they were able to like start and stop and look at their draft or their assignment and then look at what I was talking about, and really kind of just like follow along as if we were having a conversation. The other thing that I wanted to just show you is I also would just recommend making a video that teaches students how to access their feedback. And so I made a video, and I'm certainly not, we don't have to watch all of it by any means. But I wanted to just show you, I just made it through Zoom. I'm sure maybe you guys all have kind of a way that you know how to do it, but I had a Zoom meeting, and then I just recorded my meeting. That way I could share my screen. And so I'll just show you a second of this. Hey everybody, it's Amy here. This quick video is just to make sure that you know how to check feedback on your profile pre-writing, and to make sure that you know how to access the video feedback that I have given to you. Just so you know, I will sometimes be giving written feedback, sometimes I do video feedback. For your first drafts, I'll definitely be giving you video feedback. I feel like I can just tell you a lot more, and sometimes it's a little bit more interesting to listen to and easier to follow along. Okay, so that's enough of that. But then I just shared my screen. I showed them exactly how to access it, what it would look like. And I think what did I do? I posted the video in an announcement so that everybody would have access to it. So let me just, let's see. I think like the thing that I just want to emphasize is students are so forgiving. Like even sometimes I've had it where I've like, I don't know, I couldn't think of the right word, and so I always am trying to be like really like prepared and know exactly what I'm going to say. But students have been so forgiving. It's like I would say, okay, wait, okay, I can't think of the word. They just see you as like a human being. And so to prepare for the video feedback, I don't actually write anything down. Your style might be different than that. You might want to write things down, which I can see, or make comments on the draft or whatever. But I honestly, unless I have so much to say that I'm afraid I'm not going to remember it, I'll just read through the assignment and kind of get my thoughts together. And then I'll just go through it and give them my feedback as I'm looking through it, really. I just find that I'm more natural when I do it that way, if I don't try to plan it all out exactly how I'm going to say it. And it usually works fine. Every once in a while, I'll kind of look back through the video and be like, shoot, I forgot to tell them something. And then I'll just put a little note. I'll put a little comment that says, hey, I forgot to say on your works cited page, or, whatever. Okay, so I think that was all that I had for the presentation part. But yes, please ask questions now.
I was wondering if you've ever run into any accessibility issues with this. Like, is there closed captioning on the videos if students need it or anything like that?
Does anybody know this? Because it says that there's an option to do closed captions, but I don't know. I have not run into any student accessibility issues. I can see, obviously, if you had a deaf or hard of hearing student, this wouldn't probably be the best way to give them feedback unless you could get the closed caption. Does anybody else know the answer to that question?
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, I think there is supposed to be a way to do it, but I like I said, I also couldn't figure out how to do it with turning off my camera. I couldn't figure out because I was so excited when I saw they had the screen capture feature. I was like, oh, cool, I can show my screen at the same time. It did not. I spent a frustrating like hour and a half trying to figure that out. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to do it the way I know how to do it. So I apologize. You're getting the subpar way to do it, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. So yeah, that is a good question though about accessibility.
And then I had one, I mean, I teach a lot of Comp 1 as well. So I was curious, which assignments do you do this for? The pre-writing and the drafts? Do you do it for more?
I do it always for the pre-writing and the drafts. That's usually about it. I suppose I could do it for others too, but anywhere I just want to really be able to tell them like what I'm thinking and what they did really great. That's when I use the video feedback. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for the good questions. Any other questions that anybody has?
Yeah, Amy, I have another question. It kind of tags along with Dora's earlier question about when it's in Canvas, if we do not have a way to download it ourselves to hang on to that, does it stay in Canvas if we have to go back and if there's a grade review or a student questioning, is there a way to go back and access that when you've done it?
So it stays in Canvas. So I do like that. Like you could go back and check, what did I say to that student again? And so you can always play the video again. Now, Canvas sort of changed to where after the quarter is over, you can't get into the assignments, but I'm sure maybe a Canvas person could help you if you needed to. But yeah, so it stays there. It's there as a permanent record.
Okay, thanks.
So nothing in Canvas ever goes away. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And what happens is the Canvas administrator just sort of locks you out of those materials because we're moving forward, right? But the materials are still there. So if there is a disputed grade and we need to go back and we need to take a look, all of that stuff is archived. It's still in there. So Canvas never gets rid of anything. We just, like I said, it just gets bigger and bigger. And the administrators just kind of keep moving us along, from term to term.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, David.
Yes, thank you for answering that. Any
I wanted to
other?
ask something about, actually, Dora made me think of it when she asked about accessibility. It's not really accessibility, but about preference. So I did video feedback a few semesters ago with students at UNL, and I asked ahead of time. I just said, hey, I like to give video feedback. Please let me know if you really don't want me to do this and you prefer written. And I think maybe one out of maybe 25 students or something said, hey, please write it out. I work at night, or they didn't have headphones. I can't remember why exactly. So you could ask. I think most people will really like it, like Amy said, but there might be a student that just says I'm hard of hearing, or, I prefer to read instead. I think I would probably, even though as much as I love this, I would like to have it written out. And so I think offering students that choice is good.
Yeah, that is good. The other thing I will say, and this might be just more an English thing, although if a student's draft is if I feel like I really need to show them more about how to format, or there's a lot of grammatical stuff that's hindering even the ability of the reader to understand it, I will also give written feedback on a draft. I don't do that for every student because it would honestly take me it would be too much, but I do. And I also sometimes, actually always I'll offer to students, if they want that more detailed feedback, to ask me, and then I'll send it to them. I find most students don't. They just want the sort of broad strokes. And actually, that also has saved me time, because when I used to write my comments, I would find myself getting so sometimes like nitpicky on things, and I'd be like, why am I giving, this is just a draft. Why am I giving them this feedback on this? And you just can't do that when you're doing it in a video. Well, at least I hope. I mean, it's a lot harder, right? You just can't get bogged down. You just really have to think about the important things that you want to hit. So that's helped me, I think, to give better holistic feedback, and not be just like really picky about like, oh, well, this paragraph, whatever. I think that's been good too. Anything else that anybody had questions about?
So I'm looking to answer the accessibility question. It appears that there is a closed captioning button on the player somewhere, kind of down by the playhead, kind of where you would expect it to be. And it's saying that it's not, it doesn't meet the threshold or the standard for professional, closed captioning. In other words, it probably does some kind of, human voice recognition, and then makes, whatever it can out of sense out of that, but it's not, the air level is probably not very good.
Thanks. I appreciate that. And that too, that might be a good reason then, like Naomi said, to ask students, like maybe you could, in your video or when you give the first feedback, you could say, this time I did video feedback. If you really would prefer written feedback from now on, please let me know. So they can at least experience it one time. I think that's probably good. Maybe a student doesn't know if they like video feedback because they haven't gotten it before. But then you could give them the option. In fact, I might do that actually for my class this quarter. So that's a really great idea.
And I would imagine that this feature will get better over time. This automatic captioning function too, with AI, as much AI that's being, infused into all the products now. This will probably get better within a pretty short period of time.
Yeah, and actually, they used to not even have the video option. You can see that it says new, and so even the video option, I feel like, is better than it was when I first started using it. So I think that's probably true. They're always trying to make it better, so that's good.
I really liked what you said about being on video and not having, it kind of helps you go a little more high level, right? Broad, instead of getting nitpicky. I've done enough like grammar corrections on papers to know exactly what you mean. But I can imagine there'd be a time when it'd be really handy to have that paper up, right? And to talk through while sharing the screen with students. And it sounds like that's not working well on Canvas. And I haven't really used Panopto much yet, but Jessica and David can probably tell us if that will be something that, is it going to be easy enough that we could just make these kinds of videos, quick videos in Panopto, and then upload them, like Amy showed us that there's a file upload.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would take longer, more steps, but if you did want to show the assignment, could you do that?
Yeah, and remember, you can always do it in Zoom too, if you're more comfortable with Zoom than Panopto. So, you just open up a Zoom meeting and just record your desktop and that sort of thing. But yeah, Panopto, absolutely, there'll be integration for that.
There's a little more uploading and downloading and attaching, and you probably wouldn't want to do it unless you really needed that.
But the nice thing is then you would have a record of those that you could access. So if later in another term you wanted to go back and maybe, see some comments that you had made in a previous, section, that sort of thing. Whereas, once you move forward in Canvas, you can't really go back without, making a request from the Canvas administrator and all of that. So it might be beneficial for you to do it. But
yeah,
the fact that you're doing it is the big thing, right? And making that, again, it's making that connection with the student, closing that personal space that is so great when we're online. Everything seems so distant.
Yeah.
If you can close that human space, that's always a plus for the students.
Well, yeah, and I mean, you saw in my video, I'm like sitting on my couch. I mean, it's like pretty real. This is where I do my grading, kids. Like I just I sit on my couch. I have a lap board with my computer on it. So I mean, I think, yeah, I think that it's there's like a feature on Canvas where you can record something on like a discussion board. And so I've wanted to play around with letting students record their discussion board posts, but I just took a class through UNO and I couldn't do it. So I could probably offer it to students, but even with the instructions that the teacher gave to us, my technology, I don't know what, it didn't work. And so I don't want students to feel frustrated, like, oh, I really want to do this, but I can't figure it out. So I haven't tried that yet, but that would be another cool way so that they could record, a comment or something would be kind of cool too. And then you could see them if they chose to do it that way. I would never make them do it that way if they didn't feel comfortable doing the video, but it would be kind of cool. I don't know if anybody has experimented with that. But that'll be that's the next roundtable.
The only time I've done that, Amy, is with the humanizing class with instructors, and they almost always do the text. They almost always type instead of video. And I think it's just because it's an extra step to like put yourself on the screen, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, truly I had to get over seeing my face on those videos. I just had to be like, you know what? No one cares as much as you do. No one's even noticing your dumb face that got frozen on the screen. Like, yeah.
Well, and I'll back it up again with research. Research shows that, the more kind of less polished your videos are, the more they transmit to the students. So,
good.
Whenever I make recommendations that people make videos of themselves, find a comfortable place like your couch or outdoors at the park with your dog. Those things, again, it's a humanizing thing. So that really transmits to the students, and they seem to, when we do research, they seem to like those better than the more polished, more professionally produced videos.
Cool. Well, that is everything that I had. I did put my email address on the handout. So like, again, I'm definitely not an expert in Canvas, but if you had questions just about anything that I could help you with, definitely let me know. I'd also love to hear it, like if you try it, how it goes. I will say I've gotten better at it. So don't feel like if you do it the first time and you're like, oh man, I don't know how that went or whatever, like try it again. Because I definitely have gotten way better at it, way faster at it, just like anything, So I don't know. I think it is worth it. If it's something that you're interested in doing, I think it is definitely worth it. It's been really, really great, I think, for my students and for me. So
we'll have a follow-up TLTR, and Dora and Aaron and Jan and Lori can tell us how it goes. That'd be fun to hear.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So much, Amy. That was so helpful. I appreciate it.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm really, really glad.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Amy. That's great. Again, teaching presence is a really important aspect of teaching online that the students miss so much, between being in a classroom and being distant like this.
Yeah.
I think those quotes, the student comments, are really compelling, especially the one that you pointed out, Amy, that it's nice to see who's guiding and teaching me. I think that's really important, and that's a huge support for doing something like this.
Yeah. And like I said, that was completely unsolicited. She just sent me an email saying, I'm so happy you're doing the video feedback. I was like, okay, yay. And it's a good timing. I'm going to put that on my handout.
I had an idea. Maybe we could ask a couple of students to make a short video talking about a video feedback. And then we could either append that or add that into, some of the resource materials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be fun. Anything you want to ask Amy before we log off this afternoon? Well, Amy, we really, really appreciate it. And we appreciate all of you being here. And we'll be excited to hear how it works out if you give it a try.
Yeah, seriously. Thanks so much for coming, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you. Thanks, Amy.
Thanks.
Bye.